I'll do English. Good evening. I am Elie Smith. The headlines. A lorry that causes panic in Mbanga because of an accident. Besides that, businessmen and women are also stranded. Christmas proper might be over, but celebrations continues around the country for most who are lucky to have been visited late by Father Christmas, who had certainly gotten the wrong addresses. Echoes in this news. Cameroon won't be the same if there are no controversies with its national teams. This time around, those who are crying are players of the visually impaired national team of Cameroon. They were the vice champions of the last organized African Cup of Nations held here in Douala, the economic capital of Cameroon. The Kenyan Efebus Sam Nyaweya is in deep trouble as he is being investigated with 2 others for conspiracy to defraud. The case centers on how far he used almost 170,000 US dollars set aside for Kenya's football team's trip to the West African island nation of Cape Verde. Those were the headlines. Once again, good evening. Business persons are stranded in Mbanga. Mbanga is a town in the Mongo division after a truck collided with several other vehicles, blocking shops and other business activities in that town. The truck left Njoko quarters to supply gravel in the economic capital of Cameroon, that is Douala. Details with Ndi Morin.
This truck is said to have somersaulted several times after negotiating a wrong bend. The accident happened along the Douala-Bafoussam highway precisely, and Mbanga. Following reports, these 2 buses that were heading to Douala got trapped on the spot. The truck left Njoko Quarrel in the Mongo division for Douala to supply gravels. I was called about 1 a.m. when I was at home that a truck from Jongo Quarrel had an accident right in front of my shop. According to reports, the truck was in a deplorable state. It destroyed several shops and private homes on its part, leaving the owners frustrated. The truck fell in front of my shop and blocked. It has affected the front part. I can't sell. I've been here since morning. I can't work. Customers are coming and going back. I can't even open my shop. I don't know what to do.
Actuellement là, je ne sais pas comment on va faire pour rembourser le temps perdu actuellement là.
Though the truck driver was hurt, inhabitants have described the accident as their own New Year gift. Most were seen with buckets carrying gravels to their homes.
The corpse of a young man identified as Mazu has been discovered in the Kolmita neighborhood here in Douala. The victim is a motorbike rider. He is said to have suffered several machete wounds. Leslie Fombo with more.
It's an unusual Sunday morning in Kolmetak, a locality in the Douala 2 municipality. Inhabitants of the neighborhood have discovered the corpse of a young man wrapped in polythene bags. Investigations later proved that the victim is a commissioned motorbike rider who hails from the far north region of the country. Reports say he was seen on December 25. We lastly saw him on December 25. He lives with one other guy. By 5 a.m. on December 25, he called this guy to bring him a sachet of water. He spoke well on the telephone, but he waited for the water to no avail. We thought that maybe he had fled with the bike. The corpse of young Mazun had matched wounds, an indication that he was stabbed several times. They seized his bike. He was stabbed 5 times in the stomach. Tension is gradually rising from his loved ones, who are not happy with some police declarations. The police came here, opened investigations. We expected them to call the firefighting brigade. We are the ones who discovered the corpse. They are telling us to carry the corpse to a doctor for a post-mortem. The corpse of young Mazon is transported to the hospital for a post-mortem. The quarter head on his part says this is the first time such an incident is happening in his neighborhood.
The placing of sparks on vehicles is fast gaining ground here in the city of Douala. But vehicle owners say it is not only an abuse by city council agents, it is also a violation of the laws of the city. Once again, Ndi Morin has the details.
Violent exchange this Monday morning in Bali, Douala, Cameroon, between the owner of this vehicle and agents of the Douala City Council was said to have placed sparks on this vehicle and were about impounding it. The attitude provoked anger on the part of the car owner.
Il y a les voitures en rang. On vient porter ma voiture. Parce qu'ils ont 30 000 par voiture portée. Ils ont 30 000. Dès qu'ils te portent la voiture, tu vas payer 30 000 qu'ils ont remorqué. C'est même quoi ce pays-là?
According to the car owner, the city council agents are not acting in conformity with the law. I have not refused that my vehicle be impounded. If the law forbids sale notices on vehicles, which should be clarified. And if my vehicle is impounded, I should be able to identify the city council agents. They should present to us their mission order. That's what I'm asking from them. The placing of sparks on vehicles is fast gaining ground in Douala. A majority of car owners say their vehicles were not wrongly parked. They have accused city council agents of taking advantage of the situation to harass and extort huge amounts of money from them. Another problem is that city council agents hardly identify themselves on the field. They most often violate the laws that regulates the placing of sparks on vehicles. Vehicle owners also want to be clarified if cars tagged with sale notices have been banned from circulating in the city of Douala.
The town of Edea in the Sanaga Maritime Division lacks motor park. The situation has forced passengers to stand by the roadside to take their vehicles. And that has not only caused traffic jam, but has also been the cause of several motor accidents in Edea, the city of light. For more, Oscar Ngo.
Edea is the major town connecting Douala and Yaoundé. Unfortunately, this chief town of the Sanaga Maritime Division does not have a motor park for vehicles that are in neighboring villages. There is no motor park in Edea. We pick up passengers along the road. If there was one, I would have stopped there. The end of year frenzy causes a lot of traffic jam in Edea because many travelers wait for vehicles along the road. We are obliged to pick up passengers on the way, though it's dangerous. The Edea Urban Council is constantly on the neck of the drivers. Unfortunately, they are not able to provide for a park. Those who violate city council rules are fined to the tune of 25,000 francs. With all the danger during festive period, it's more than necessary to have a park.
The Ministry of Labour has certainly done her fair share of job this year. But next year, the objective of the Ministry of Labour is better working conditions. For more, Carol Kemaju tells us.
Close to 100,000 workers now have social security. Minister Gregoire Owona, during the annual meeting, expressed happiness for some evolution in the sector of labor and social security, as stakeholders respect decent work and equally upgrade the living standard of workers. While addressing his collaborators at this working session, the minister urged them to elaborate working strategies which will permit them easily accomplish their respective missions. According to administrators of this ministry, 2015 balance sheet is positive, though there is still much to be done in 2016 to revamp the Ministry of Labour and Social Security. This meeting was equally occasion for them to welcome their new Secretary General. John Razak was installed in his new function. There was no best way to say thank you to the outgoing Secretary General than to make her Knight of National Valor for all she did for this ministry.
The Olympic nightclub in Yaoundé was the venue of the launch of a new album by Makossa diva Grace Deka. Beatrice Ngamo was part of it and files off this report.
Under the shadow of the disco lights of Olympic nightclub, the population aroused by the surprise voice of the diva Grace Deka. Happy Grace and Glory Night. Like Father Christmas, the Makossa star offers her best to the Yaoundé public. Great moment of nostalgia. Crisscrossing through her different song tracks, gospel, and also Call Me Princess. Christmas celebration as the public answered in their numbers to celebrate with Grace Deka rhythm. December 25th.
Father Christmas certainly had the wrong address, but at last they found one. That the good address to the Christmas to the Rwandan refugee children who were visited by the minister in charge with the management of catastrophe of Rwanda. She advised them to fight for their own personal development. And it is going to certainly be some time or a period when these children will never forget. Once again, Ndi Morin.
This is a refugee camp of Mahama in Rwanda. The joy of living is being shared among these persons said to have been abandoned by family members. Rwanda minister in charge of management of catastrophe and refugees is here to put smiles on the faces of these refugee children. She handed over Christmas gifts to them. Seraphine Nunkam Labana urged the hundreds of refugees not to be dependent but also fight for their own development and learn from the Rwandan environment. The ceremony marks a new era in the life of these refugees.
21 people were killed and 91 others injured in Maiduguri in the northeast of Nigeria last Sunday. Officials say gunmen armed with rocket-propelled grenades fired from 3 trucks during a raid. They equally say security forces killed 10 of the suicide bombers. Only last week, Nigeria's president, Muhammadu Buhari, said the war against the Islamic sect Boko Haram had been technically won. The Vice African football champions for the blind, known as Sesifoot, are on strike. Why? Joel Dumbo went and met those crying to be rewarded and brought back this report.
The blinds of Sesifoot have seen it all. 3 months after the vice champion title at the African Cup of Nations in their category, played home, their bonuses are still in between Yaoundé and Douala.
The competition took place in the 16th of October, the 25th or 26th of October 2015. And since the end of the competition, we did not receive anything.
10,560,000 CFA francs, bonus each, enough to make a blind sit on the floor to decry. More, empty stomach.
Presently, we are in front of the Minister of the Sports and Physical Education, asking for our due.
A no-food strike action started early morning front the Ministry of Sport and Physical Education. It's time to negotiate mano a mano.
We initiated some movement, some letters to the sports authorities, and we had no answer. Some of the directors were saying that we didn't have the right to ask something because the competition was not in the budget program. We are expecting that the authority will call for us. They will give us what they're supposed to give us.
The message is clear as Sesefoot players entered the Ministry of Sports. They want to see through the whereabouts of their hard-earned money, tampering with the catch of the blinds. Nothing is really impossible in Cameroon.
They don't pity even the blind. The president of the Football Federation of Kenya, Sam Nyamweya, and 2 other officials are being investigated for conspiracy to defraud. The Directorate of Criminal Investigations is investigating on how $170,000 set aside for Kenya's trip to Cape Verde for a 2018 World Cup qualifier in November was used. After being delayed for several hours in Nairobi, the team lost to Cape Verde and was eliminated. That was what we could put together today for our news. Tomorrow is another day, God willing.